How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Liberty Hour, streaming through Spreaker Studio and the A2 Jack YouTube channel. I'm back here with my good friend Ricardo Navarrete. We just finished talking about Elon Musk's underground tunnel and our thoughts on that. Next thing I wanted to go ahead and talk about is this whole thing that's been going on with vaping-related illnesses that have been going on, and FDA trying to do something about it. California, San Francisco banning e-cigarettes. California requiring more education on it. So this is the story that came out in the Washington Post as of earlier this afternoon. Federal officials said Thursday that at least 530 people in 38 states have become sickened by a mysterious vaping-related lung illness, part of a growing national outbreak. In a sign of the seriousness of e-cigarette investigation, officials disclosed that the enforcement arm of the U.S. FDA has been conducting a probe in parallel with the public health investigation led by the CDC. Officials said they do not know the cause of lung injuries that are making people so sick, but there have been so far 7 confirmed deaths. 6 as of entering this week, so there must have been one more that happened this week. Something that I will say, though, about this article that is very important, a possible reasoning behind why you're seeing more of these cases of lung illnesses and these deaths occurred. Marijuana industry experts said that black market operators have added thickening agents to THC oil, because obviously marijuana as being illegal in many places in the nation still. It is used to fill vape cartridges. At least one such, quote, cutting agent used to dilute solutions, vitamin E acetate, an oil derived from vitamin E, has been found in samples tested by state labs and the FDA's forensics lab, but officials cautioned again Thursday that they have not identified a single e-cigarette product or substance as the underlying culprit. A form of chemical exposure is suspected of making patients ill. So obviously a very interesting thing going on, as there are many people who do vape. In fact, let me actually look that up right now. How many people vape? So let's see. It will reach almost 55 million by 2021. It has went from 7 million in 2011 to 41 million in 2018. So obviously a very, very big increase right there of about 600% in a 7-year span. And we are now starting to see some people actually are getting hurt because of it. But I wanted to get your thoughts, Ricky, not just on the article in and of itself, but what is your thought on San Francisco taking action to ban it? What is your thought on just the entire situation in general?
Damn. All right. Well, you kind of just blew up my theory out of the park with that last plot of evidence, because I was just thinking that the whole reason they're making a big deal out of it now and calling it an outbreak is because I thought that it's just states are becoming more aware, and all this awareness about vaping is causing, like, a social outbreak and people are recognizing it more. But now that you just hit me with it's grown by 30 million with actual facts, I don't know anymore. I don't know about that anymore, but banning e-cigarettes, to me, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't think people are ever really going to stop. Like, I don't think you can monitor somebody going to their house and just doing it at their house. Like, nobody's really going to do it out in public if it's banned anymore, because they don't want to get thrown to the bucket and whatnot. But I don't think it's ever really going to go away, and I don't think people really see it as super harmful, because they're just going to keep doing it. It's like any other drug, they're just going to keep it a secret. I don't think, like, yeah, good on San Francisco for trying to like ban it and not, but I don't think anything's going to change, really, if I'm being completely honest. I think people are just going to keep doing their thing. I personally don't think vaping is, like, cool or good or anything, but I don't see it as fatal or anything either. From my understanding of vape, I don't understand how vape works versus, like smoking and doing weed and stuff like that. I feel like it's more moderate or more mild than that, so you can't really overdose. So I don't see it as fatal, but, like, that's just my thinking on it, because I don't have too much of an understanding on how, the whole vaping system works with mods and all that stuff.
And by the way, I did want to mention real quick. I wanted to make a clarification. San Francisco banned flavored e-cigarettes. So like, there's like many different flavored e-cigarettes out there. I don't think that means that they banned every single one, but they banned flavored e-cigarettes and flavored kinds of vaping. I agree. I mean, I know some people that do vape. They're completely fine. I don't see them having any issues at all. It obviously doesn't. I don't think that it should affect who a person is judged as or looked at as by people. My issue is, and I've been an advocate for quite some time of more education when it comes to drugs in schools, so that young people can understand what it actually does to them, how it affects them. However, when it comes to actually banning it, not only is it costly, not only if you want to make it a criminal thing, is it put so many people behind bars for nonviolent crimes, but also to me it's just unnecessary. And also it's very hypocritical because we're never going to ban alcohol in the United States, which obviously is such a killer. Now, if you wanna say it's apples and oranges, I'll say, okay, let's relate this to some things that people do smoke or people do that are related to vaping or e-cigarettes or whatever. Well, let's look at smoking in general. There are 480,000 people every year on average that die from smoking cigarettes, and obviously that does a ton of damage to your lungs. And if you were to divide that up, that would be 1,315 people a day on average. When there's only, compare that to 7 that have happened over I don't know how long it's been, but it's been quite an extended period of time for vaping. Let's look at opioids. Opioids, such a big issue in America that nobody talks about enough. 130 people in the United States on average die every day of opioids, according to drugabuse.gov. And there's still so many prescriptions of opioids in certain parts of the country, like West Virginia and stuff like that. So my thing is, the whole point of it is it an issue, and maybe are there certain things that need to be looked at? Yes. But if we want to prioritize what is actually important, we should be looking a lot more at seeing what we can do about things like opioids and putting restrictions or regulations on those, and things like actual cigarettes a lot more than we should on vaping or e-cigarettes. And also, one other thing I'll say to finish off my argument and my point on this is e-cigarettes and vaping also, I think, help a lot of cigarette smokers quit. I think it also is an easy way to kind of let them take baby steps towards sobriety. And I think that by taking that option away or making it harder for certain people, I think that it just makes matters worse overall on everything when it comes to public health. And so, I know I'm kind of rambling at this point, but that's just my thought on the entire thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron for President 2020.
I'll tell you, I would win. And obviously, I don't want to get into too much politics here, but one thing that I will say is if you look at everything that's been going on with polling and the Democrat presidential nomination for 2020, they're going up against Trump. Joe Biden, the most stale, awful, terrible candidate, the most centrist candidate, is still up 10 points over Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, who both would actually put up a much better fight, in my opinion, than Biden would. I'm not a big fan of Warren. Not a huge fan of Bernie. I like him the most out of all three of those. My candidates are much more down, which are Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang. Just very unfortunate to see that. I'll just say that, though, because you mentioned my name for president, and I'd be better than Joe Biden. I'll tell you that right now. I know for sure I would be better than Joe Biden, because Joe Biden sucks. He sucks.
Dude, do you think a libertarian will ever be president in this country, or is it only for Democrats and Republicans?
Not in the current system we have. If you ever change up the Electoral College, or if you ever change up... I think that's the first step, is changing up the Electoral College or abolishing it in general.
Well, who would do that? Would Democrats do that? Republicans do that? I feel like nobody in their right mind right now would do that.
It's going to be some time. Nobody at the moment, I would say, would be doing that. It's going to be some time until you see that happening again, unless, of course, you see a person who is a libertarian or somebody like that, or Green Party, run as one of the big two parties but campaign on that message. That's what almost got Ron Paul elected in 2012, but unfortunately, he still was not liked enough by the Republican Party. But anyways, to answer that question, I would say that not at this moment, unfortunately. But anyway, so that takes care of the vaping issue, and we had a nice little conversation on that. Next thing I wanted to go ahead and get into, and pretty much almost everything else that I have on here is philosophy questions, even though I kind of wanted to I get Michael on for those as well. Here's an issue that I actually was going to ask you about, because this relates, and it doesn't actually require Michael here, is college costs, financial aid, and just stuff in general. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. We talked about financial aid, I know, last time you were on the show, and college costs and what could be done to make stuff easier for, college students. I want to just get your thoughts, though, because I started off my first 2 years at Sierra College. Michael's at Sierra College right now. And then obviously I transferred over to Sac State. You started at Sac State right out of high school, and you went when you started right over there with your major. And I just wanted to get your thoughts. Obviously, I know that you really like Sac State, obviously part of KSSU, everything's been going on. But I want to get your thoughts. If you could go back and reverse time to the summer of 2016, fall of 2016, would you have still chosen to go to Sac State over Sierra or community college? Why or why not?
Gosh, okay. This question like breaks me, dude, because on one hand I want to say no, I wouldn't go back, and then on the other hand I would say yes, I'd rather go back. So here, let me just start off with saying why I would go back and make the decision to go to Sierra College instead of Sac State. So first off, right out of high school, like I just heard that I got financial aid covered through FAFSA and I got a Cal Grant, so I was like, oh cool, and I got accepted into San Jose State and to Sacramento State. And the reason I didn't go to San Jose State is because I was gonna start going into student debt just right off the bat. And I didn't even know if I wanted to do engineering right from the get-go. So my first classes would have just been either general ed or just engineering if I even liked it. But even then I couldn't take serious classes. So I pretty much would have been in debt just taking general ed classes. All right, no, I do not want to do that. And then if I go to Sac State, obviously I commute there. So I'd be saving a lot more on the dorm and not have to worry about that. The only thing I'd pay for obviously is tuition, books, and parking, which is freaking stupid, but what's it called? And everything got covered for the most part, and I think I actually had a $500 scholarship too, from senior year from an award, and that helped me out with the first 2 semesters at Sac State too. But the reason I'd rather go back to Sierra College is just because all I did my first year was general ed, because my orientation leaders were not that useful, dude. I don't know if it's just Sac State orientation leaders, but I swear to you, they're just oh yeah, let's just party. Oh yeah, you gotta do this, sign up for classes. But you're struggling trying to sign up for classes, and I'm sure everybody at Sac State knows how much of a pain in the ass it is to sign up for classes. So they're just oh, I'm gonna avoid it. I'm gonna pretend like I'm busy and go talk to somebody or go do something else, and they just completely avoided it. And it was a serious issue for me. It was my first time getting thrown into college. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how hard it'd be to get a classes and all this stuff. And I ended up just doing general ed my first year with big chunks of breaks. And I feel like I just wasted, honestly, even after my first year, I was taking mostly general ed and then some major classes like Calculus 3 and stuff. I took Calc 3 after taking a whole year and a half break from math, which was, not a good thing, but I had to do it in order to keep up, which is where I'm at right now. Otherwise, I'd be back 2 semesters. Jesus, but the only reason I'd go back is just to take general ed if I knew that's what I was going to do, if I knew how hard it would be to get into major classes at Sac State. Honestly, that's what drove me to want to think oh man, I should have done it better. I should have just gone to community college, got my GEs, and just done it. But on the other hand, I wouldn't take it back just because I feel like going to college really helped me grow into who I am now, dude. I feel like if I went to Sierra College, it'd just be a continuation of high school, just driving, and a lot cheaper too, so I wouldn't have to worry about the parking, and it'd probably save me a lot more gas and traffic and whatnot. But definitely going to Sac State, it really helped me shape who I am. I felt like I was one of the first in our friends group to go straight to college, so I got to see the whole protesting on campus. I got to see everybody just being free, talking about everything. I got to see all the different cultures, ethnicity. I got to see all the clubs. I got to join groups. I got to just hang out with people, try new things, and it really helped shape who I was. And then I got to really get a feel for how serious the job marketing was going to be and all this stuff. So it really did help me, like, kind of get thrown in to cold water. But honestly, that's the best way I find that I learn is just throwing myself into something new that I have no idea what's going to go on. And I feel like I should leave it there. And we should just cut to the next part for you, see what you think, if you do it differently or not. But yeah.
That's perfect timing because I'm going to go ahead and end part 3. We'll be right back with part 4 of the Liberty Hour. Stay tuned, everybody. Michael Kokkonen will be coming on in part 4.
Oh, shit.